How to choose your first sailing yacht. Buying your first yacht has the potential to be daunting, especially given the wide choice of sizes, ages and styles of craft available. However, a cool-headed and analytical approach will enable you to narrow the choices down to a sensible shortlist, and you should be able to choose your first yacht in no time at all. The key questions to help you choose your first boat are: where will you be sailing, who will you be sailing with, where will you keep your yacht, and do you have budget constraints? The follow-up questions you need to ask yourself are: what kind of sailing do you plan to do, and what size of yacht will fit my needs? The first step is to develop a clear idea of the kind of sailing you intend to use the boat for. Do you picture yourself stress-free relaxing weekends, or getting your teeth into the challenge of long passages, or maybe an adrenaline-fueled round of racing? Who do you expect to be sailing with most often? This is also an important factor. If you have a group of friends who are already competent sailors, that may point in a different direction to those who plan to sail with inexperienced members of their own family. Once you have answers to these questions, you can make an informed assessment of the key attributes you actually need from a boat in the areas in which you would be happy to compromise. It's important to recognize the extent to which choosing a boat is all about compromises. One with lots of interior space is likely to be very appealing, but it's also liable to be more stressful to maneuver in a tight space, may have undesirable handling characteristics, and is likely to be less fun to sail than one that does not pack as much accommodation into a given length of hull. Your choice of your first boat will also depend on your existing sailing experience. Some first-time buyers have only spent a handful of weekends afloat, while others have tens of thousands of miles of experience. In any case, try to get experience sailing as many different boats as possible before going down the route of buying a boat. This will be valuable experience that will help give a clear idea of what will suit you best and minimizes the risk of you buying an unsuitable vessel. The second step is to determine the size of vessel. The subject of what size of yacht makes a good first-time buy is the topic of many bar and pub chats, with many people espousing different views. Old-timers, who learnt to sail when boats were much more expensive and sail handling systems relatively primitive, will frequently insist that a small boat is by far the best option. After all, it worked for them. However, in reality, a wide range of boats are suitable as first yachts, and many first-time buyers are currently opting for boats in the 35 to 45 feet range. Another consideration here will be where you are planning to keep the boat. Is it a tidal location or a marina berth? Remember, a bigger boat will cost more in marina fees. Unlike buying other expensive items, such as an expensive car, the purchase price of any boat needs to be somewhat lower than the total amount of money you want to spend up front. Additional initial costs include a survey, insurance, renewing aging equipment, plus the first year's mooring or marina fees. It's also important to figure out a realistic annual budget. When drawing up a budget, it's important to include a generous allowance for unexpected contingencies. Most new boat owners significantly underestimate total costs. The replacement price of accessories such as electronics, safety equipment, deck gear and sails can greatly exceed the value of the hull and rig, especially for older yachts. It's also worth making an allowance for infrequent big-ticket items, for example if you have to replace the engine during your ownership of the boat. As a result, an apparently expensive older boat that's well equipped, with plenty of recent gear, can often be a bargain. Before committing to buy a boat, it's worth inquiring about mooring or marina availability. You may well not be able to get your first choice location, and about prices, which can vary considerably. Once you've found a suitable boat, the next stage is to make an offer, subject to a satisfactory survey, evidence of title, finance approval and evidence of VAT or taxes status. A written contract is vital at this stage, and is usually accompanied by a 10% deposit. The purpose of this contractual process is to protect against potential pitfalls, including whether the vendor is actually the legal owner and whether there are any charges such as unpaid mooring fees, repair bills, loans or marine mortgages that third parties may have levied against the vessel. It's also important to recognize that, unlike offering to buy a house, your offer becomes legally binding at this early stage, usually with a requirement to complete the purchase within 14 to 30 days. Given the legal obligation to complete the purchase, insurance should be in place when the contract is signed. If the survey finds material defects that would in aggregate cost more than around 10% of the purchase price to repair, you have a number of choices. These include renegotiating the price. Often the estimated repair costs are shared between buyer and seller, or withdrawing from the purchase altogether. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe and hit the bell button.